And now to Flashback, a recap of some of the stories that made headlines during the outgoing week. The federal government on Monday said it's committed to resolving the impasse between oil workers and Dangote Refinery. Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Dingyadi, gave the promise at the commencement of the meeting with Pengassan and Dangote Petroleum Refinery.
The indefinite strike declared by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengassan, is the reason for this meeting. True to their threats, the oil workers have cut crude and natural gas supplies to Dangote Refinery, an action the oil company describes as an economic sabotage. But the oil workers insist the refusal of Dangote Refinery to allow its staff to unionize is tantamount to modern-day slavery. On the first day of the strike, all workers ensured strategic offices are shut down. These include NNPCL and regulatory bodies, the Nigerian Upstream and Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, as well as the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA. The workers say the sacked 800 staff must be recalled. The strike is already impacting Nigerians as the price of petroleum has risen from 890 naira per litre to between 910 and 920 naira as queues are gradually building up at the filling stations. But the government assures of its commitment to have all issues in disputes resolved.
We have been informed that Pengassan is on strike, and a very serious one for that matter, because I never knew that they have closed NNPC itself and other subsidiaries of oil and gas industry.
At the meeting are the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. In his opening remarks, the minister said the government did not understand the magnitude of the strike declared by Pengassan until now.
We want to make sure that we resolve these issues amicably for the good of everybody, for the good of our economy, for the good of the security of our nation, and for the good of our workers.
The meeting dovetails into a closed-door session as journalists were excused.
And still on Monday, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja declared the pronouncement by the 2007 presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Patutomi, to create a shadow government as unconstitutional, null and void. Presiding Judge Justice James Omotosho in his judgment held that Sections 1, Subsection 1 and Section 2, Subsection 1 of the Constitution are supreme and binding on all citizens.
The DSS in this suit was seeking determination of the court whether by virtue of the Constitution any person can lawfully establish a shadow government or a parallel government. Also, whether Patutomi's declaration to call a shadow government is not in contravention of the Constitution. In his response, Patutomi prayed the court to dismiss the suit as any unreasonable course of action was not established. He submitted that he was exercising his freedom of expression, which does not constitute any threat to national security. Delivering judgment, Justice Omotosho held that the shadow government is a practice in the Westminster system of government in countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Malaysia, and the UK. The Westminster system forms an opposition to scrutinize the sitting government, but its authority is derivative and operates within the bounds of the Parliament, insisting that the concept of shadow government is alien to our system of government. The court maintained that while freedom of expression is guaranteed, such freedom is not absolute to protect society from anarchy. The court would not allow the defendant to confuse the country under the guise of fundamental rights to expression. Mr. Otomi is restrained from creating any form of government not recognized by the Constitution.
In line with what we canvassed before it, has declared that there is no provision whatsoever for the formation of a shadow government or shadow cabinet.
The court, in reaching its final decision, contacted some senior advocates of Nigeria as amicus curiae. About 8 SANs gave their divergent submissions on the concept of shadow government, which the court carefully examined.
On Tuesday, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja adjourned till the 27th of this month for the arraignment of Omoyele Sowore. Mr. Sowore was to be arraigned on the 5-count charge of alleged crime where he made derogatory remarks about President Tinubu on his social media handles.
At the day's proceedings, counsel to Mr. Sowore, Masha Abubakar, had informed the court that his client has not been personally served with the charge as required by law. However, the second and third defendants, X and Meta Incorporated, have been served with the charges electronically. The prosecution counsel, Mohammed Abubakar, moved for the charge to be served on Mr. Sowore in court. This was not objected to by his counsel. After service was effected on Mr. Sowore, his counsel prayed the court for 3 days as allowed by law for them to go through the charge. The prosecution had objected to the 3 days and insisted that Mr. Sowore is in court and aware of the charge. Justice Mohammed Umar held that the defendants are entitled to time to go through the charge. He adjourned to 27th of October for arraignment. The Department of State Services, DSS, had filed cybercrime charges against the convener of the revolutionary protest, Omoyele Sowore, and 2 others for allegedly making false posts against President Bola Tinubu to cause breakdown of law and order in the country. In the 5-count criminal charge, Mr. Sowore was accused of using his official X handle page at Yele Sowore to tweet, "This criminal at official PBAT actually went to Brazil to state that there is no more corruption under his regime in Nigeria. What audacity to lie shamelessly."
The Ogun State government on Tuesday suspended the principals of the Lugun High School, Abeokuta Junior and Senior Schools pending the conclusion of investigations. A viral video circulated on social media showed groups of students beating up a teacher and throwing stones at classroom windows until the glass shattered. The students were said to be protesting the death of one of them, who was allegedly roaming around during school hours and was trying to evade arrest by the officials of the Ogun State Security Network. He eventually jumped into a river where he drowned and died. Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology in the state, Abayomi Arigbabu, says preliminary investigations showed the young man who lost his life could not be confirmed as a bona fide student of the school. He also mentioned that the boy was identified by 3 different names and none of the names appear in the official site or official state education database, which authenticates all school enrollments. And Nigeria marked its 65th independence anniversary on Wednesday. President Bola Tinubu called for all hands to be on deck during his nationwide broadcast. He assured citizens of his administration's determination to ensure that the resources saved so far are channeled into critical areas.
President Bola Tinubu says Nigeria has finally turned the corner, declaring that the worst is over. According to him, yesterday's pains are beginning to give way to relief.
Under our leadership, our economy is recovering fast, and the reforms we started over 2 years ago are delivering tangible results.
Available data shows that Nigeria's gross domestic product grew by 4.23% in the second quarter of 2025, the country's fastest pace in 4 years, surpassing the International Monetary Fund's projection of 3.4%. Inflation also declined to 20.12% in August 2025, the lowest level in 3 years. President Bola Tinubu says his administration has achieved 12 remarkable economic milestones as a result of the implementation of sound fiscal and monetary policies. He also acknowledged that the country is racing against time and must build critical infrastructure for future generations, because the country failed to make these necessary investments decades ago. But his administration is setting things right.
We have restored physical health. Our debt service to revenue ratio has been significantly reduced from 97% to below 50%. We have paid down the infamous ways and means advances that threaten our economic stability and triggered inflation.
President Tinubu never misses an opportunity to pay tribute to the gallantry of men and officers of the armed forces and other security agencies working tirelessly to keep the country safe.
The officers and men of our armed forces and other security agencies They are winning the war against terrorism, banditry, and other violent crimes. We see their victories in their blood and sweat to stamp out Boko Haram.
The message to Nigeria's youth demography is to continue to dream big, innovate, and conquer more territories in various fields of science, technology, sports, art, and the creative sector.
I have a message for you, you young people. You are the future and the greatest asset of this blessed country. Our administration, through policies and funding, will continue to give you wings to fly sky high.
As Nigeria commemorates its 65th independence anniversary, President Tinubu's message is hope and a call to action. He says the federal government will continue to do its part to fix the plumbing in the economy. He called on Nigerians to turn on the taps of productivity, innovation, and enterprise.
Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court on Thursday dismissed a suit filed against President Tinubu challenging the proclamation of state of emergency in Rivers State. Delivering judgment in the suit filed by Balemak Briggs and 4 others, Justice Omotosho held that the 5 plaintiffs lacked the legal power to institute the case. Justice Omotosho said President Tinubu's statement that he imposed a state of emergency to avoid a looming breakdown of law and order was not challenged or disputed by the plaintiffs. The court declared that the case was frivolous and baseless because the mandate of other people from Rivers State was not obtained before instituting it on their behalf. And on Friday, it was a solemn day in Benin City as dignitaries converged to pay their last respects to former Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase. The former IGP was buried in a private ceremony attended by family members and close associates.
At St. Paul's Catholic Church along Airport Road in Benin, the atmosphere was heavy with emotions as family members, friends and associates joined top government officials and security chiefs to honor the life and service of the late IGP. But also for his humility, professionalism, and deep sense of duty to the country.
For me, moments like this are humbling. For all of us, no matter the positions we occupy, one day we will lie down like this.
The police force and all of us Nigerians, the fortitude to bear his very sad, irreplaceable loss.
At the reception organized by the Edo State government to honor the memory of the late IGP, was outpouring of encomium as speaker after speaker described Arase as a patriot who left an indelible mark on the Nigeria security architecture.
As the chairman of the Police Service Commission, he demonstrated his integrity by ensuring a transparent and merit-based recruitment process, has made sufficient strides and left sufficient footprints and legacies that will live for many, many, many years to come.
As the nation bid him farewell, the legacy of Solomon Arase continued to resonate, not just within the police force he once led, but also in the hearts of all those who knew him. Valentine Osumbo, TVC News, Benin.